If you found this video, I imagine that you're intentionally connecting to your most auspicious future. And one of the reasons I feel so confident in stating that is one, you wouldn't have clicked on this video if it wasn't so. And two, from my experience, we live in a reality where it is impossible for us to connect with something that doesn't resonate with frequencies that we have active within ourselves at any given moment. So, with that, I'm offering this as a permission slip to yourself. The contents of this video, should they resonate with you, may offer some inspiration. If you've been following my videos for a while, this might seem like an unusual path to take. After all, I'm always talking about the present moment. And yet, so many of us are focusing on the future at this time that it was highlighted to me to speak about the future. Because while it is true that we are always living here in the present moment, we are collectively creating an experience of the passage of time, which might indicate a future now moment that we arrive at together. So when I'm talking about the future possibilities in this video, I'm going to be pointing out some trajectories that I imagine you individually are connecting to, as well as we collectively are connecting to. And so I do offer this video as one point of confirmation for yourself of the resonance, momentum, and the future timeline that you are likely pointed to at this moment. Because a few things that I will add is, I'm not predicting the future, nor am I telling you what your future must be or has to be. I am highlighting the potential momentums that we have, both collectively and that I imagine you have individually based on the fact that you chose to watch this video, that you can bring into your awareness right now, which allows you to connect to your discernment and make decision trees from here that either result in this future momentum appearing in your now moment, or they will result in you going, well, that's not quite the momentum I'm choosing. And you may find yourself making some new decision tree choices while you shift your attention to a future now that is more resonant for you. If that sounds fun, let's dive in. I'm Danielle Lynn. I talk to people in the know, such as yourself, who are connecting to their very intentional way of living in each and every now moment. And if you've come across this video, well, I imagine you may be very curious about your future self. There's also the aspect of you that knows you are connecting and creating in each present moment. And so I imagine the information you're about to receive will assist you in reconciling those different perspectives and stepping forward with a lot of clarity. Now, one of the first things I'd like to share with you is I'm going to invite you to take a breath in with me, if you like, okay? In through the nose, out through the mouth. You're doing rad. I get that it may feel really wild right now. You may have a lot of feelings. And let's go ahead and release any ideas of tension that we have about how things must be or have to go. Because living in flow isn't about the outcomes you're arriving to. It's about the momentum and the way you're engaging with the present moment. And it's all right to give yourself some relief right now, because I find there's actually far less for you to do than you might imagine. And the things that you are going to do, the actions you are going to take, they will spontaneously arise as you relax into your natural state of being. We actually relax to act. We relax to take resonant action. Resonant action doesn't come from thinking we have to force ourselves to move a certain way or from judgments on what we think we're doing. We breathe in. you go, boy, I can be so silly and I love that about myself. And all right, now what? In this now what, let's tap into your future, so to speak. No, I'm just kidding. So tapping into your future moment is actually fairly straightforward. I'm going to talk you through this process, and then you too might be able to notice the momentum of the future so that you can also make choices. Because I love having these conversations with you, but I assure you, you're not required to get your future information from me or from anyone else. But one of the reasons I'm going to highlight to you that it may not be auspicious for you to listen to other people's retelling of the future is, in a sense, you're placing your timeline in someone else's hands. Whether they are someone who has your best, most resonant interests at heart, or whether they are someone who just enjoys sharing their perspective, you're kind of hitching your wagon to someone else's momentum in a way. When you're discerning, sometimes you can go ahead and hitch your wagon in that way because you're like, oh, we're both going the same path, right? Oh, I wanted to go this direction. You're going that direction. Let's go. Hitch your wagon. But if you operate in a way where you believe other people know more than you, and you allow yourself to be led by fears especially. So please, this is an invitation to be aware of any kind of messaging that triggers your sense of fear or anxiety. My friend, if there's any kind of future messaging from YouTube or anything else that triggers your sense of fear or anxiety, this is an opportunity to remember this may be false evidence appearing real. Fear. I'd love to take the credit for that one, but that one was shared with me many years ago. If you're tapping into someone's future momentum that they're sharing with you, they are offering you vibrations that you take on board and you start repeating in your head. And if you're not feeling empowered by those, that may be an indicator that you've hitched your energetic wagon in a direction where you're being led by the nose somewhere where you don't have to, right? Again, there's no shame, blame, or judgment. Like, sometimes it can be fun to do things like that. But consider this an opportunity to simply pause and go, well, what sort of future trajectory feels resonant to me to connect with? All right, here's the fun thing. You don't actually need to know the story about the future to connect to a resonant one. You can sense it based on your feeling about it. Now, I don't mean feeling from a surface emotional level. I mean from like a resonance level, a harmonics level. The feeling you have when you listen to music that is harmonious and it actually reverberates through your body. There's a similar feeling we have of reverberation when we hear something that rings with truth and we go, yes, this. And it goes deeper than the surface level potential dopamine, potential fear level feelings that we can get caught up in. And it actually is the place where we can guide ourselves from discernment. So whenever you're listening to a message, what you might do from now on, and this is with anyone, you can do this with my messages, you can do this with anyone's messages. You can pause, take a breath in, and just say, is this for me right now when I am connecting to my most empowered present moment experience, connecting with the future moment that is equally empowering? And if it's a yes, you're going to click. If it's, I don't know, I invite you to leave it be. If it's a no, I also invite you to leave it be. To me, an unsure or a maybe is simply a no right now. And if it's a no right now, then it's simply a no. Because if it becomes a yes later, then in the moment that it becomes a yes, it'll be apparent to you and you'll make the choice. So you can leave it be in the present moment. You can let it go. You can trust that if it's yours, it will come back to you in resonant timing. Maybe you're aware of it right now and you can leave it be. This is what it is in some levels to work with the frequency of abundance. It's not just about money. It's also about abundance and trust in yourself, in timing, in the timing of messages, in the appropriateness of messages, and who you're connecting with. It's about trusting yourself to make empowered choices as you're navigating these fields of reality. All right. You might be asking about the future prediction now. Let's get into it. From this perspective, as a world, I'll first speak as a world, we've chosen a timeline experience where we're getting to the root of our collective shadows. What might appear to be a lot of chaotic things at this time is the equivalent of facing the inner skeletons in the closet, so to speak. They're no longer able to be masked by politeness or polite conversation. In family dynamics, this would be known as keeping the peace, so to speak. Well, across the world, there's less of the keeping of the peace and just more things popping up and showing what their true face is. And sometimes that face can appear to be very scary for a lot of people. For some people, they imagine it's exactly what they want. I would invite you, if you're not enjoying the story, remember you don't have to get too caught up in the actual story. The story is playing out neutrally. You can be present in the moment as the different levels of the story unfold around you, and you can say, all right, then what now? You can continue to connect to what it feels like to be empowered, and then you say, what's the step that I take now? This is also a reminder and an invitation that if you have an abstract idea of what you want to do, maybe you have an abstract idea, I want to bring a community together, I want to do something good in the world, I want to inspire others, I want to connect with people, I want to show love, I want to put this out there. This is the time that you're being invited to go from the abstract into, and then what is the one practical step I can take that feels resonant? Sometimes people at this juncture go in their head. They go in their head and they think, oh, well, the practical step is to set up a website, or the practical step is to join this course. Well, what I want to invite you to understand is that sometimes we run with what the mind thinks the step is, because the mind can only feed us information based on what it knows. But your heart can guide you towards steps beyond what the mind can conceptualize. And if you listen to the guidance of your coherent heart mind, it may tell you a step that you may be like, I have no idea where this is going, but it feels resonant, so I'll take this step. Oh, the step is saying, reach out to this friend. Oh, the step is saying, take a trip to Vermont. Oh, the step is saying, whatever the step is, right? If you listen to that step and you simply take that step, you start to engage in a field that says to this reality, I'm game. I'm not going to try and force what I think the outcome has to be in the future. I'm connecting to the first step in the bridge of incidences that's going to connect me to each resonant outcome. So in this case, for example, I would invite you to pretend, picture this if you like, to picture a series of rooms. So imagine you're like in a room, and let's just say there's doors all around you in this room. And what you're doing is, you may not know what's on the other side of the door. You know that there is a place you want to arrive, but you have no idea which door to pick. And you can only open one and go through it at any given time. In this example of following the coherence of your heart, it would be like playing Marco Polo energetically with these different doorways. If you just try to use your mind, okay, logically, I think I need to choose the third door every time because number 3 is great, and that's what I'm going to do. That's what the mind says. The heart goes, this one, this one, this one. That's the one. I sense it. Okay, remember what I said about resonance? Now, again, to be clear, this is not about blind trust. I understand it can appear that way. But the logic of the mind may appear to be sound, but the mind doesn't actually know what will happen in anything beyond the present moment. So it can give you some ideas based on what it knows, but the heart actually lives beyond time. So when you're tapping into the heart, you're actually tapping into the wisdom of your consciousness self, the consciousness self that can actually see trajectories that your human self can't see. So when you're receiving information from this consciousness element of self, it's almost as though you have a bird's eye view relaying back to you via walkie-talkie you're feeling in your heart, this way, this way, this way. Whereas the mind is just making its best guess. Now, when the heart mind work together, then the heart can inform the mind and the mind can apply its powerful tools and skill sets to the present moment as it goes. Okay, and this is one of the pathways. This is one of the ways to describe heart-mind coherence when it comes to navigating your future. So let's talk a little bit about your personal future, a little bit more deeply from what I can sense from this moment right here. I do sense that you're going more and more internal. You feel less like getting your information outside of you, which is also probably why you found this video, which I know it seems like a paradox, but you may be receiving this as confirmation that you're less likely to get information outside of yourself. You're less likely to go seeking it. Perhaps if it meets you auspiciously, like a video like this, it's great, but you're shifting from a dynamic where you think the power and the information is outside of you into a dynamic where you're remembering that you can get the answers within. And so videos like this may act as extra confirmation. They may be like an extra like, hey, you got this. But they're no longer telling you, right? We're no longer playing the game that would look like, yes, I am the wise one. Give me your attention and power. I shall tell you how it goes. Instead, we're playing more the game of mirroring, which is, yep, I'm doing this. I can feel you're doing this. We're doing this. We're all coming back towards an inner navigation guidance system, not a group follows one energy dynamic in the terms of giving one's will away. The interesting thing that happens, I find, is in taking that empowered step, if you do organize in a group, the group has a completely different frequency. Even if there is, let's say, a leader in the group, the leader is fully serving the interests of the group as a whole. The group as a whole is going back and serving the interests of the collective, and it works in a resonant, harmonious way. Perhaps you could compare it to how cells work or how a beehive works, something like this. Now, let's see if there's anything else that wants to come forward. And what I'm doing is I'm simply feeling the harmonic in my body system and I'm saying what's resonant to share in the now moment. And this is how I'm doing this future read, so to speak. Okay, what I'm really doing is I'm reading the momentum of the present moment of the now who I am sensing, is tuning in and then reflecting that in this present moment, which reaches you in resonant timing. Because time is just something that we've made up and it's really, really fun, but it's always happening now. So I know it's reaching you now. Okay, got it. Whatever it is that you're strongly yearning for right now, this is a reminder that you don't actually need to work hard to get it, even if this is something you've been working at for a while. And I can feel, at least from this perspective, you've been working at this for a while. This is almost a message that's inviting you to have a trust fall within yourself around whatever this thing is that you've been very tightly focusing on or wanting. This could be a way of being, an ideology, it could be a person, something like this. But it just feels like an energy of tension and wanting. And the sense that I get is just a reminder that you already have this thing, even if you don't quite see where it is in your reality. And the way to resonantly connect to it without attempting to effort or contort or push yourself through this reality to have it is to relax into your own system, which might feel as though you're letting go of this thing. But what's actually happening is you're letting go of the story of how you must get this thing. You are inherently linked with the resonant outcome already. It's only our insistence on how it must come through that sometimes appears to create constriction in the present moment. And there's no shame or blame about that. I have done that so many times. Okay, no shame or blame, right? And it's a reminder to all of us that if you give yourself the reminder, the permission, the consent in this moment, no matter how things look in your reality, to remember that you are on the resonant path now. There is a doorway, I was gonna say a doorway portal available to you right now. It's not in a future moment. There is a step you can take right now that leads to another consecutive step, okay? And it's not about actioning and forcing. It's about relaxing in the flow, about giving yourself permission to let go of the need to control which doorway or control which outcome, and instead begin to trust your inner guidance system that is completely ready to guide you there. I'm going to share this picture with you. Imagine that you are a powerful magnet, and whatever it is you want is magnetized, and it's just naturally magnetizing. But as a magnet, you have these magnet arms, and you've been grabbing onto something, and you think, okay, I got to go this way to connect to the thing that I want. When in actuality, if you let go to whatever you were grabbing on, your natural magnetism would draw you and the thing that you are attuning to into a reality where it's overlapping and you're experiencing it right now. I continue to enjoy our conversations together. I invite you to be discerning about what messages you choose to take in, no matter who they come from. This is your life to live. And I can see you living it with more and more clarity and more empowerment each and every day. I have such appreciation for you. And if this video has been of assistance, please do like, share, and subscribe. And feel free to let me know what's going on in your life in the comments. In the description link, you'll find a link at this moment to the Alchemy Lab. We run experiments together. It's a self-paced experience that has community elements. So you can join it and connect with all of us and run your experiments for remembering how to connect to the ever-present now. Additionally, there's some other links there with resources should you like to explore them. And in all cases, I look forward to our next resonant moment together.